was really the passing of Raphael Dwamena. And when I saw it, I thought it was one of those things. We say stuff. And then if there was anybody I could get confirmation from, Godfred, it was you. And once you said it happened, I had to accept that. It really did happen.
Like I was saying earlier, I was Saturday was really, really not the best when the news came through. And still coming to terms with Raphael's passing. Will be very, very hard times for those who are close to him. A few footballers as well. Well, a lot of footballers as well, for whom he was a really strong person. They relied on for guidance spiritually. Raphael was part of what was called Footballers for Christ. And they held, particularly during the COVID period, online services, talking to one another, holding each other up, Manoneti, Jonathan in the US.
Yes, Jonathan Mensah, yes.
Very, very strong group. Pray together, preach together. He had started a little, So he, for somebody who was just 28, he was pretty much focused on what he was doing. Mm-hmm. And he football career-wise, he had the world at his feet at a particular time, know. And that period between Austria Lustenau and FC Zurich, in that calendar season, Raphael scored, I think that was the 2017-2018 season also, Raphael scored 32 goals.
Wow.
I remember the last time in that calendar year between Austria Lustenau and FC Zurich, when you he scored 32 goals in that year. I remember the last time we had a Ghanaian striker do that, and that is what led to. And it's interesting, because when I met, I told you about going to Zurich. So I was working at the time, and I had to make a stop in Zurich. So Nana Dakwa JC, our good friend, Max FM right now, commentator of the Star Times Premier League, sends me a message that, if I get to Zurich, he has a friend there that he wants me to check up on. Like he's been making the news and whatnot. So I was like, no problem, So I got to Zurich, did my business, and I was like, why not? Another question, I should check up on this kid. So I sent him a message, came to the hotel, I was like, I said, this is okay, no problem. So we spoke, we had drinks and everything. Then in the evening, I'm there, and then I get VIP tickets to an FC Zurich game. So he had a car pick us up, myself, a couple of other people. We went, he scored 2 goals. And as soon as he scored, he ran to the section where we were, came to celebrate. At least some Ghana people that he knew were there. He scored 2 goals that day, I remember, at the stadium, at the FC Zurich stadium that evening, So based upon him collecting those things, we developed a strong relationship. He came back, we've hung out a couple of times. I remember when I was in Nairobi, he passed by. We had, a bit of time. When at that time he had become a Puma athlete.
Okay.
So Puma had released these new boots, and I kept telling him that I was going to win Gold King, so I required a new pair of boots. And funny enough, when he was leaving, I got back and he had left 2 pairs of the new boots that had just been released from Puma that he had come with. He left all of them for me.
Wow.
In the room. And he would call me every Saturday and ask, have you scored a goal in the boots? So post that failed Brighton move.
Yes, I remember
when
that so
it actually became official that there was a problem. He's tried to make things work. He's had the surgeries, he's done the treatments. His career has been up and down. Because Zaragoza terminated his contract sometime over this. But he was always steadfast in the belief that he would get better. That's the one thing you could not take away from Ralph. Like he had unfounded faith. He had unshakable faith that he was going to get better. And that his life was in the hands of God. It was God's to determine. He would always tell you that his life was in the hands of God. God would determine what happens to him. So he was very, very focused. with his young family, and it's like for those if you're a journalist and you've spoken to Ralph, they'll tell you the same thing.
Yeah,
he did not have airs. He's not one of those Ghanaian footballers who you would meet and you come away thinking he's fake. A lot of them are fake. A lot of them are very disrespectful, but they'll pretend, for the cameras and whatnot. That wasn't Ralph. With Ralph, what you saw was what you got. If he wants to talk to you, he'll tell you, I'll talk to you. If you not, it was rare for him to even turn down interviews if he was allowed to grant the interview. And he spoke very well. If you had, I think when we started Citi TV at the time, one of the first interviews we actually did was with Raphael Dwamena via the link that had been set up at the time. So it's sad, it ended the way that it ended on such a public stage, it's very distressing. I have not been able to watch the video.
I haven't at all.
Yeah, and I do not intend. I prefer to remember him with that smile of his, and his "Hey, Mr. Akoto, it is vibe." And like I said, his family will really, really, really be down by this. He had an uncle who was teaching at Accra High School, who was everything to him. So initially when he would visit, before he blew up, that's where you find him. And I'm imagining somebody like my colleague Redwan Asante also going through the same kind of pains, because Redwan was also very close. In fact, I would say Redwan is as close to him as most people would be. Asante right now based in Canada. So difficult moment for a lot of people, but we'll remember the good things that he did. And for somebody who passed away at 28, he did a lot of good things. He had impact amongst the people in his social circles. He did not do it for the funds. So a lot of people might not have heard about what he was doing outside of the football pitch. But off the football pitch, he was very focused on his spiritual life. Yes. Ralph will send me a message, Mr. Akoto, have you done your morning devotion? I woke up for I'm busy. What is this? What is this pressure? But he was that kind of guy. So may he rest in peace. And I said we'll continue to remember him. We'll take the good memories that we have of him. We'll keep those, and yeah.
Now, for those who did not know, Raphael Dwamena played for the Black Stars. He played 9 times and scored twice. I remember his debut. He was hot at the time.
I'll tell you a story. So, when I came back from that Zurich trip, actually, was when I remember returning on a Friday, and Liberty Professionals had a game on Sunday. So I met George Free at the stadium that Sunday, and he was then chair of the Black Stars Management Committee. Yeah. So I remember he was sitting there, and I walked up to him and said, Mr. Free, I just saw this kid that, at that time, reports were emerging about him. But strangely enough, he was not actually on the national team radar. Even though he had scored an absurd amount of goals, he was not on the radar. So I was like, Mr. Free, do you know Raphael Dwamena? I was like, no, I don't know Raphael Dwamena. I was like, look, I watched this kid personally 2 days ago, and he's phenomenal. And Mr. Free was like, so. And interestingly, Mr. George Free, within that week or so, made contact with him and went to watch him personally as well. And it wasn't long after that, because he was like, oh, so it's just
really sad.
Anyway,
it's really, really sad. May his soul rest in peace.
Exactly.
We extend our condolences to his family, and it's really, really, really tragic.
Yeah, it's really a truly tragic and heartbreaking way to go out. He's joined the majority, leaves those of us who are behind heartaches and headaches. And it's, ever since I watched Vivian Foy,
like that. Yeah, that episode.
You always watch football with your heart in your mouth.
That you're hoping.
Exactly. And because, the first time I got close to something like that was Nwankwo Kanu, when we all heard that he had to go and put in a pacemaker and all of that. And he came back and, was able to still play football for a long time and eventually retired. So all these stories about Dwamena's, heart issues and all of that, I mean, everyone was praying that he'll be able to surmount the challenge. Unfortunately, it took a hard hit at his career and his personal health and all of that. And for him to die over the weekend the way he did, it's troubling. It's troubling. And you wonder whether the systems could have done better, in order to save him. Again, we also saw what happened with Ericsson.
Yes, Christian Eriksen.
Yeah, that's right. Now he's back on the pitch. But again, anytime you watch him play, you are wondering, God, please do something about this in a positive way. So I know these are going to be very difficult times for the family, people who believe in him, people who have watched him play, his teammates, and all of that. And we can only pray that the Lord God should find and give them the strength they need to actually go through moments like this. Okay. Our house goes out to the family, and I pray for healing for them. I know that this loss is irreplaceable, but may God touch their hearts, give them the strength to be able to put up with the challenges of the days ahead.